Welcome back. Now to the latest in that lawyer who's accused of sexually assaulting 4 different women 15 years ago. How he's pleaded not guilty in court. ABC's Ariel Reshev reports prosecutors said DNA was used to tie him to these cases years after the attack.
15 years after a series of rape cases rocked the city of Boston. This morning, this 35-year-old Manhattan attorney is waking up in a Boston jail cell, charged with 7 counts of rape and sexual assault.
How do you plead to those offenses? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Matthew Nilo, accused of sexually assaulting 4 women in 2007 and 2008 in the Charlestown area. More than a decade after the trail ran cold, authorities revisited the investigation. Using forensic investigative genealogy, they determined Nilo, who was raised in Boston, was a person of interest. FBI agents in the New York area placing him under surveillance.
FBI agents were able to obtain various utensils and drinking glasses they watched the defendant use at a corporate event. From one of the glasses, the Boston Police Crime Lab was able to obtain a male DNA profile, which is found to match the suspect profile from the 3 Terminal Street rapes.
Nilo was arrested last week at his home in New Jersey. His fiancée seen clutching rosary beads in court, refusing to answer questions. Nilo's attorney saying his client maintains his innocence.
I haven't seen any police reports or any factual statements by the Commonwealth.
A new study showing that the sleep supplement melatonin is more popular than ever, despite evidence that doing so could cause all sorts of issues. That study found that by 2018, Americans were taking more than twice the amount of melatonin we took a decade ago. Problem is, long-term use can be a real health issue. Melatonin has been linked to symptoms like headaches, depression, stomach cramps, and low blood pressure. It can also interact with common medications and trigger allergies. Over-the-counter melatonin is not fully regulated, so the pills might have significantly higher levels than what you see on the label. Many people think melatonin is a vitamin or a mineral, but it's actually a hormone, and it regulates your body's sleep cycles.
Take melatonin every night.
Well, maybe you should rethink that.
Yeah, well, you got to wake up at 1 a.m. for GMSA. All right, so how long babies are breastfed could impact their test scores later in life. A study followed about 5,000 British children from their infancy in the early 2000s to their last year of high school. Now, the researchers found there was a modest improvement in test scores associated with those being breastfed into their first year. It's important to note, though, the results only showed a correlation. It did not show a causation, which many studies don't show. So there you go. We're going to have a lot more on this study on KSAT12.
Taking a live look outside, we have got a hazy day out there. Anything could happen, as Justin says. Storms are popping.
Yeah, we are seeing a few showers and storms trying to pop up in spots around San Antonio. But we're going to start first with a little bit of a traffic update. I want to show you what's going on at 1604 and I-10. This has been going on for most of the morning. Still some issues there, and there still are some slowdowns. Let me show you the map here, and I'll take you up there. Now, there's construction going on, too, so there's already a pretty usual amount of high amount of traffic in this area that causes some slowdowns, but it does look like there are some backups, so we'll warn you there because at least one of the ramps was closed early this morning with that crash. So we just wanted to pass that along to you. Now we switch over to the radar and we show you that, yes, we do have some activity trying to pop up. We saw that there on the northwest side near Helotes, and then now we're getting some new development right near Alamo Ranch along 151 on the far west side. We'll zoom in. Well, it's jumping around on me here. Let's jump in a little bit closer, look a little bit closer at this activity. And it's just to the west of SeaWorld. Nothing too heavy here. We're not detecting any lightning strikes, but there is going to be some brief heavy rain. If you're traveling along 1604, you're going to see some of that. We've also been watching that stronger storm out to the west near Concan. That has drifted south towards Sabinal. Still a couple of lightning strikes with that. So it's just to the west of Sabinal there along Highway 90 in between Canipa and Sabinal now. And we're also seeing some additional development up across parts of the hill country in Kendall County. Again, nothing that's too heavy, and we'll see just about a 20% chance of rain today. Temperatures will top out close to 88 for high, and then down into the 70s tonight with even warmer weather on the way on the way as we head into the latter part of the work week and into the weekend, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Today is the 79th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. It's known as the beginning of the end of World War II. Back on June 6, 1944, more than 100,000 brave Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy in Nazi-occupied France, taking on intense gunfire and bombs. The troops from the United States, the UK, France, Canada, and other countries took on about 50,000 German forces on the other side of the English Channel. The offensive was so bloody, and it was a turning point in the war. It ultimately led to the liberation of Western Europe from Germany less than a year later.
Well, with Election Day more than a year away, more politicians throwing their hats in the ring, vying to be our commander-in-chief. That includes former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. He's set to enter the 2024 Republican presidential primary today. This will be his second bid for the White House. Expected to clash with current Republican frontrunner, former President Donald Trump. Chris Christie has been critical of the former president since his loss in 2020, but before that, he was a fierce ally. In an interview with Axios, Christie vowed he will never support Trump again.
And former Vice President Mike Pence officially joining the 2024 presidential race as well. According to the Federal Election Commission, he filed his paperwork yesterday to run for the Republican nomination. Pence set to formally announce his candidacy tomorrow ahead of a CNN presidential town hall. Now, this sets up a potential clash with his former boss, of course, Donald Trump. The two had a falling out when Trump tried to blame Pence for not challenging the 2020 presidential election.
All right, questions remain after a deadly plane crash, and a big one. Why it took authorities more than an hour to take action after it happened over the airspace, which should be the most secure in the country, if not the world.
A new effort now underway to address railroad crossings and how to make them safer. It can also help drivers save some time and money, too. We'll tell you how.
Welcome back. The United States investing millions of dollars to fix dangerous intersections where trains and cars meet. The Transportation Department announcing it is spending $570 million to replace, improve, or study grade crossings. Now, the funds will go towards 34 individualized projects. Federal officials say these improvements could reduce some 2,000 train vehicle collisions, those collisions that kill about 200 people each and every year. The funding would also help reduce congestion at intersections where trains block traffic. In turn, that could save drivers time, fuel, and of course, headaches.
Now to the latest on that plane crash that left 4 people dead in Virginia. We are learning it took the military more than an hour to scramble the F-16 fighter jets after getting no response from the pilot of the small plane. ABC's Rena Roy explains why it could take a year to learn exactly what happened here.
Growing questions about what happened inside a small Cessna citation jet before it crashed.
Aircraft tracking 7275, this is an armed air defense fighter on guard, contact us immediately.
Dramatic audio captures the tense moments as several F-16 pilots desperately try to contact the Cessna pilot, who was not responding and flying in restricted airspace near the U.S. Capitol Sunday afternoon. One of those 6 fighter jets causing that sonic boom heard across the D.C. metro area as it hit supersonic speeds in an attempt to catch up with the Cessna, which first departed from Tennessee and was headed toward New York, flying over MacArthur Airport on Islip, Long Island, its final destination, but then was returning to Tennessee, likely on autopilot, when it entered restricted airspace in Washington, D.C., and then ended up in Virginia. Experts believe the pilot and passengers were passed out from hypoxia, a lack of oxygen in the plane. The FAA telling ABC News it lost contact with the Cessna jet at 1:28 p.m., just 15 minutes after it took off. The federal agency alerted Defense and Homeland Security officials 8 minutes later, but NORAD not scrambling jets for nearly 90 minutes.
This aircraft was behaving suspiciously long before it got to Long Island. It should have been descending over central New Jersey. It was not responding to air traffic control. For some reason, the FAA didn't think it was enough to tell NORAD to scramble aircraft to intercept.
The plane crashing in this rural mountainous area in Virginia. All 4 people on board were killed, including Adina Azarian and her daughter, 2-year-old Aria, seen in these images on social media.
The NTSB is on the ground investigating, but it could take over a year to find out what exactly happened, if we find out anything at all, because of how badly destroyed the plane was. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Well, wildfires in Canada, they're causing air quality alerts in parts of the United States. Minneapolis had moderate conditions yesterday, but expected to worsen today. In Minnesota or in Wisconsin, air in Green Bay and Milwaukee still deemed unhealthy. Among the other states that could have issues today, New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Forecasters say a cold front set to move south this week, and that could push some of the smoke from the fires into other areas as well. Justin, we're not going to see any of that this far south, are we?
No, it's mostly concentrated there across the Northeast, but it is bad. It's very thick smoke. And on top of that, there is a critical fire threat across the northeastern portion of the country today. On top of all that, so it's pretty incredible. They're dealing with some very low air quality up there. For us, so far, 83. You remember that last year? 104 on this date in 2022. Thankfully, we're nowhere near that, but it is going to warm up. We're also going to take a look at the radar, which is showing a few more showers out there coming up.
Well, welcome back and happy Tuesday. So you said you got a lot of rain, right?
How many days in a row have we had rain?
It's been an impressive stretch.
It really has.
4.
Nice. I was hoping you'd have the answer.
And I was thinking about last year. We were in the hundreds. We were sweating it out, and we didn't get any rain for months.
Yeah, the rain had already shut off right in mid-May, and then we had the heat. So this has been a very nice stretch here. I will tell you things are going to change as we get into next week, but we've got one more day, I think, at least, of some of these building clouds. Like you see here, this is from Skywatcher, who always takes fantastic pictures. Oscar taking a picture of these cumulus clouds here building up. And yes, here we go again. We're starting to see the kind of same situation where you get the clouds and then they build vertically and then they develop into our showers and storms. And we're starting to see one take shape here with this picture. So let's look at the radar, the authority radar, and we noticed, yes, there are some showers and storms trying to get their act together there in Kendall County. We've noticed today that they haven't had as much staying power in the sense that they develop and then they kind of fall apart pretty quickly. Yesterday, we saw them hold together just a little bit better. So don't expect a lot of rain out of this, but we are going to see some. This particular cell here just northeast of Bernie, north of Bergheim, kind of over rural areas right now, but seeing some decent rain with this, and it's already starting to fall apart. Seeing a little bit more of that near Spring Branch. We had one quick shower, it looks like, pop up here on the north side of Bexar County near Garden Ridge. Look how quickly this flared up and then went away. But we're seeing just kind of that activity here and there across the city. And then we've also noticed some of those showers and storms out near Sabinal. These are starting to fall apart too. So I'd say you got about a 20% chance of rain today. Maybe you get lucky and one of these clouds bubbles up right over top of you. That's kind of how it has to play out, but the opportunity is there. And the forecast does show that by the afternoon we may get a little more coverage. This is around 2 o'clock. Again, these computer models don't necessarily handle this all that well, but they get the general idea down. Just some pop-up showers through dinner time with the areas, I'd say hill country and then east of San Antonio, kind of the favored areas to get some of these pop-up showers or storms. As we go outside for you right now, we've got 83 and partly cloudy. Dew point is at 66, so it is fairly humid. And the cloud cover, you can see it's starting to build, and where you see kind of the clusters of the brighter white, that's where you have a little better chance of development. That means these clouds are building up and kind of coming together into these showers and storms. Noticing some of that too around Carrizo Springs, so we could see some development there soon. And then across the city of San Antonio. Now, if you're east of town, notice we don't have any clouds yet, but I think that happens when you get some good heating here and temperatures are now in the 80s, then you'll start to see the clouds develop and you'll start to get some development here too, I think, as well. 84 Hondo, 81 Kerrville, 79 Rock Springs, 86 right now in Del Rio, 77 in Helotes because we have some rain cooled air. We had a shower there earlier, pushed the temperatures down just a bit. Well, let's look at the upper level winds. So we have our ridge of high pressure starting to nudge in a little bit. It's not over top of us yet, but as it nudges in, it kind of takes away our rain chances, starts to bring up the temperatures some. Stays to our south this weekend, but close enough to bring temperatures up into the mid-90s. And then I think as we get into next week, this thing expands and gets a little bit stronger. And then that's where we could see some of the higher temperatures as we get into the middle part of next week. So as we look at dew points, not only is it going to be hot, it's also going to be humid. We'll see dew points stay pretty steady here in the upper 60s, and that means we've got to deal with heat indices as well. Very quickly, if you're heading to the beach maybe this week, maybe this weekend, it's perfect weather. Temperatures will be right around 90. Seas won't be all that high, and we'll see water temperatures anywhere from 82 to 86. So good weekend. Head down to Port A or Rockport or Corpus Christi. 90 tomorrow, 92 Thursday. Very small chances of rain Thursday and maybe Friday night into Saturday. Then those temperatures really start to ramp up. Mid-90s by Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and heat indices could be up near 100. We'll be right back.
Crushed it. Well, welcome back. You know what sounds like the perfect lunch?
Steak and beer.
I mean, can you beat it?
You know, Mike Osterhage has the best job at KSAT12. It is not fair.
Well, because I get to work with you two, but also I get some really good food too. Yeah, snuck that one in on you. So our good friend Leo Gary is here from Eat Fredericksburg, Texas, and the Beer Festival is coming up this weekend. And you got a great sandwich you're making, right?
Right, we're doing a torta, but we're calling it borracha because we're actually soaking it with the drippings and beer.
Okay.
So, you know, we just go over it.
And a little trick so it doesn't get too soaked with the bread is, before you put everything on
Yeah,
it.
you spread a little bit of mayo on it.
Okay, and that keeps all the juices from getting too soaked.
Right, the fat, nice coat on there.
We're going to tell you all about that and this Fredericksburg brewed beer. Also, Fiona is not here today. She is a super sleuth. Hey, Fiona.
That's right. We are here at the Hyatt Regency Hill Country Resort and Spa, where you can enjoy food, cocktails, golf, and a murder. Yes, we're going to tell you all about their murder mystery events and how you can help solve the crime and win some prizes.
Interesting. Makes you think of like a great whodunit or something like that. Which raises our question today. What is your favorite whodunit movie? There have been a lot of them. Who can put on their thinking cap? The Hercule Poirot, whatever the name is, from Agatha Christie. All right. You've all probably loved Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Well, there's a new movie directed by that lady, Eva Longoria, and up there at South by Southwest, our gang had a chance to chat with her. It is her directorial debut. Of course, less than 2 weeks, Juneteenth is coming up, and there are a whole lot of celebrations around town, including one at the Tobin, and boy, does it feature some great music. Listen.
And oh, give him glory. Give him glory. Jesus.
That and a whole lot more coming up on SA Live. Stick around.